best grooming guidance for you, based on natural and handcrafted too. We wanna help be a swagger, style, class, and luxury. Makeup products that are made for you, with high quality, yeah. So get in style with the black, yeah. Company, give you swagger, style, class, and luxury, in luxury, yeah. Black, gentleman, black, yeah. Company, give you swagger, style, class, and luxury, in luxury, yeah.
Located at www.theblackgent.com. Yo. What's good? It's Stormybman, and I am back. Welcoming you to the post-fight show with Stormybman for this Saturday, September 14th, 2024. This is the post-fight show for Canelo versus Berlanga. The fight just wrapped up where we saw Canelo Alvarez defend his unified titles and come out victorious with a unanimous decision over Edgar Berlanga in 12 rounds of pummeling on a very apprehensive Edgar Berlanga, who did absolutely nothing of sorts to contest for the title or even back the rhetoric that he brought throughout the promotion of the fight. At no point did he seek to challenge Canelo fighter to fighter. But there were several incidents of, a little foul play here and there, low blows, hitting on breaks, things of that nature. And only in those instances did it appear that Berlanga had brought and energy. And all that is basically bluffing. All that is basically trying to play the tough guy. You're already a tough guy when you have accepted the role of being a professional fighter. But now comes the revelation of whether or not tough is good enough to be a true contender, a winner, and even a titleist. And if you ask me, he failed in those departments miserably, as I really felt at my core that he would. There were bits and hints of aspirations to see someone try to challenge Canelo, but as I've often stated, at this place and time, the men who could challenge Canelo, those are not the men that he are selecting as opponents at this time, and he's being allowed to conduct himself as such. So this will go on until he decides to walk away from the sport, or these companies decide to stop paying him these astronomical fees and purses that has made him wealthy several generations over. So with that being said, good evening, everyone. Welcome to the post-fight show. As we take a moment to go out here and conduct our roll call, please smash the like button as you come into the building. Let's see who we got. We got Black Martial Arts Society, my man Healer the Teacher in the building saying salute. Jimmy Bernard is out there with him. Then we also have Universal Truth, who's saying salute Stormy. Berlanga wanted that hug after the bell more than he wanted to win. Yeah, Supreme Beast Boxing Talk is out there saying salute OG. Hashtag LDBC, salute to you, Brother Cadillac Red. Thank you again for allowing me to be able to join you and the family as we sat back and checked out the fight. Antonio MMA is out there saying salute Sensei. Jimmy Bernard says salute, and he says great night of boxing. Ratchet 691 is back after a little bit of a disappearing act saying yo. Adrian Viet is out there saying salute. Chiquila Fields is out there saying salute Stormy B-Man. Salute to you, Queen. Jimmy Bernard says smash that like button while entering the building. Yes, sir. Mind of Mansa Musa is back saying salute to the wise one, the sensei. Yeah, 100. Yeah. Scrapbook Boxing, my brother, is out there saying it was great talking to you about the fights, my brother. Have a great show. Thank you, Scrap. He says everyone listen up. Stormy knows this game. Very smart. Peace, everyone. Salute to Scrapbook. Shamar Rashawn Shalom is out there saying salute to the sensei. Learn is back with us saying salute Stormy B-Man. Chilltown Majors is back as well saying Stormy salute. What's good with you? William Old School is back saying salute Stormy. Peace, my brother. And y'all smash the like button, people, when entering the building. Learn says, I just have to say I was most impressed by Caleb Plant. He changed the original game plan to a winning one. Brilliant. Who else we got? Chilltown says Canelo needs to fight Benavidez, but not sure if it will happen. Delano Lehman is out there saying Berlanga's lack of skills showed in this fight, whereas Canelo proves again why there's a question of if he is the face of boxing. Yeah. Phil the Steel is out there saying peace to all. Cinnamon, worst Mexican fighter. And Delano is saying peace. Stormy, right back at you. Listen, we had a chance to see what was going on here, right? We had a chance to see if someone was going to step up to the plate and give Canelo a challenge. And the only challenge at this particular time appears to be whether or not Canelo will invest properly for the future and thereafter, because he's well paid, well overpaid, and looking ahead, there will be more of this, taking on inexperienced, youthful fighters who may appear to look strong, but don't have enough to really challenge to topple his position. And it has been done in the past where certain reigning champions can go and pick from the litter of potentials with the ill experience to really knock them off their perch, and you kind of get them before they develop to the point where they would be a threat. And that seems to be Canelo's operating formula at the time. It's working very well, but what's even worse about it is those that are amongst the crop that he's selecting from are not opting to become the best that they can become. They are only waiting around for an opportunity at a payday. And when Canelo says, hey, payday, payday, you want payday, I know that. This is what he means. See, we laugh about it. We ridicule him. But it's true. And it's a fact. And Berlanga is going to be worse for the wear after this fight. He will not improve. This is the peak for him. He will have made a nice payday off of this fighting Canelo. He'll be able to change his address, so to speak, and a little bit of his bank account. But the temperament of this fighter, he's going to show the world who he truly is beyond what he showed tonight. And that's not much to be impressed by in the sport of boxing. You can get mad about it, but I've seen this play out before. This is not what boxing wants or needs, but this is what you're going to get from the participants, because that's what you have to pick from. That's the crop you have. Bad fruit, bad vegetables, and dead fish in the sea. Yeah. Leave it to me to tell it like it is, because some other people will give you a mouth full of jizz. Yeah! Yep. That's what I say. King Styles Productions and Steven Zen, I see you guys. Welcome to the show. Overall, this was a good fight card. I did enjoy the way they ushered the fights right along. There were no extended periods of breaks between fights. They kind of brought the guys right out after each bout. The co-main event turned out to be something that was a big disappointment. Not as far as the outcome, as far as who won, but about the performances between Danny Garcia and Erislandy Lara. Two old stalwarts in the sport. Lara is 41 years of age. The Cuban fighter has been around a while, even going back to the time when he fought Canelo at 154. Danny, who has been floating around the sport of boxing but inactive, especially at the top of the division, thought he would come in and try to steal some cheese from the cheese bearer in Lara. But it turned out to work against him, as he was finally stopped at the end of the 8th round from a left hand from Lara that dropped him just before the bell, and Danny was worse for wear. He got up, he was able to walk to his corner where he told his dad to pull the plug. And his dad waved it off from the corner, telling the referee that we've had enough, give us our check, let us go home and see what we can do with the bank account. Yeah. But prior to the stoppage, prior to the KO, this was like, and I marveled when I was with the family behind the scenes, we were watching this, and I said, this is like watching Shakur Stevenson spar himself. These two guys were not trying to hit one another. They were not trying to hurt one another. Although when replays showed blows that were landing by Erislandy Lara, Lara is a heavy-handed fighter, you guys. And though in his younger days he was noted as a defensive, mobile fighter, he definitely has pop on his punches, because the blow that he knocked Danny down with, it looked to be like a glancing blow. But when they showed replays of other shots landing during the fight that were more solid, you could see the effect that he was having on Danny. And Danny in the post interview in the ring, he said he was trying to shake it out and get his rhythm. You can't get your rhythm if you've been on the shelf for a couple of years, bro. Sparring in the gym and playing around and everything, kissing your babies in between your sparring sessions and all of that. That's not work. And it was obvious because you couldn't let your hands go. But let me tell you a little secret about catching your rhythm. You got to fight. You got to start punching. You got to start kicking in and work up a sweat. Huh? How about letting your hands go and throw more than 2 punches around? Yeah. Huh? That'll help you shake things loose. Huh? But you waited until Lara landed that solid shot and decided, hey, that shook me loose enough right there. I want to go home, Papa. Yeah. Salute to the brother Drew Titan, LLC in the building. Saying, yo, salute to the chat. He says Lara just found out he could punch about 6 months ago. Universal says Lara turned himself into a puncher a couple of years ago. Hey, listen. Let me tell you something. When you're an experienced fighter like the Cuban fighters are, punching power comes from proper technique, sometimes the blessing of natural strength and power, heavy-handedness, but a lot of it has to do with the technique of what you learned over time. When you throw the punches with the proper snap and you turn them over properly with that snap, good things happen. The Cuban fighters have always had that. And even as they age, they can still defeat other fighters because they have a more solid foundation. That's why he and fighters like Guillermo Rigondeaux and Luis King Kong Ortiz, they've been showing us these things. Andy Cruz. All of these fighters, they have something. And that's one of the reasons why the sanctioning bodies kind of hold tight when those guys are competing and contending and going toward titles, because there is a natural bias toward the Cuban fighters in the sport of boxing. Somebody try to prove me wrong. Stormybman is going to tell it like it is, and I don't care who gets angry about it. But that is 1000% a fact. There is a bias, a political stance against a lot of the Cuban fighters who represent very well professionally inside those ropes. And that's not a political statement. That's an endorsement for the sport. Give these guys their title shots and stop trying to freeze them out. And when they have had titles, stop stripping them from them. I've seen it. When I did my video on welcome to Black Murderers Row 3 years ago, I included these guys on my list of blacklisted fighters. Yeah, because they are dark complexion men. If they never spoke, you would think they were from the neighborhood. Yes, I have talked about these things. Danny Garcia came back for a payday. It's a tough way to earn a living. He didn't get hurt anything more than his feelings. That was all. Because Danny Garcia is a wealthy young man. He has businesses outside of the sport of boxing, and he should stay away from the ring. He's more concerned about his looks than his hooks. And he should stay out of the ring. He's had his time, and people will remember him for what he's accomplished. But what he's doing presently is not good, because he's going to only be a victim of circumstances that he does not have in his favor. Go sit down, son. You run your race. Also on the undercard, a super middleweight bout that took place between Caleb Plant and Trevor Mccumby. Listen, this fight, I did a breakdown on it. I talked about these men and how this fight might end up being one of the fights of the night. And it turned out to be just that, where we saw Caleb Plant come out victorious with a 9th round stoppage over Trevor Mccumby. Now, Mccumby showed some strength and power early on that really took Caleb out of sorts for a couple of rounds. But Mccumby's lack of experience began to show as he got beyond the rounds that he was accustomed to fighting to. Apparently, it was mentioned that he had never gone beyond 6 rounds. And having not gone beyond 6 rounds, with fighters like that, you have to worry and be concerned about conditioning and the ability to make adjustments to complete a fight that may be scheduled for 12 rounds, as was the case of this fight between he and Plant. Plant had the fortune of experience of being in there against the likes of David Benavidez and Canelo Alvarez. And though he lost both of those fights, what Plant was able to do was build in an aspect, an area of his own resolve. And he recognized something that is very true. Just because someone is strong, just because they punch hard, just because they have a lot of knockouts, doesn't mean that they're going to be victorious over you. If you bring the proper mindset, have the proper game plan, have the proper manner of executing, and as Queen 71 just wrote in the chat, stealing my thunder a little bit, saying making the proper adjustments. And Caleb was able to do that. He weathered the storm because he touched the canvas several times in this fight against Mccumby, twice from knockdowns, but only one knockdown was scored. On my scorecard, I gave Mccumby the first knockdown that he managed, and I recognized his inexperience began to kick in after like round 4, because Caleb began to barrel into his chest and battle him at close range, where though Mccumby is strong, it appears that he wasn't accustomed to someone fighting him on the inside like that. And what he would do is cover up and lean near the ropes. And you cannot let anybody just pound on you in those type of circumstances, which Caleb took advantage. And he began to outwork Mccumby, draining his stamina, and also the pressure putting on Mccumby psychologically. And though Mccumby was trying to ham it up a little bit, playing to the crowd and doing some little tactics, Caleb was a lot smarter in that instance. And he was able to survive and come out on top. And again, like I said, his experiences of David Benavidez and Canelo Alvarez assisted him tremendously in this fight. And those are the type of things, when you look at a fighter to try to see progression and growth, that's what you pay attention to. And it's something that he was able to really show the audience and show himself. Because when you fight like that and you're able to show yourself, you can gain the confidence of what you're accomplishing here. And that's exactly what he was able to do. So salute to Caleb Plant. Hats off to him for the type of performance that he put on this evening. And that's a good win for him. A very good win for Caleb. Very good win. Jimmy Bernard says, Stormy, I didn't know much about Mccumby seeing this fight. He can be a contender in the future. Mccumby versus Munguia or Berlanga. Hey, that sounds interesting. Universal says Plant got on the inside of Mccumby and took his power away. Yep. Ravens Nation is out there saying salute. Learn says 100 to no experience on the inside and fighting on the ropes. Well, yeah, that's the one thing that I'll talk about, and I've said this how many times about guys being on the ropes and in the triangle. And my goodness, did Edgar Berlanga live in the triangle tonight. And he got battered there. The fact that he's a youthful, strong, big guy that Canelo couldn't just take out. But Canelo, it was like he was following his personal punching bag around the ring, because that's where Berlanga stayed. And he took a battering as a result of it, even being dropped at one point in the third round, getting caught over there in the triangle. So I think Berlanga's ship has gone out to sea, and that is probably all you're going to see. Nothing great, nothing, no coming up and saying like, well, like I just used Caleb's experience of being in there with both Canelo and David Benavidez as examples of growing from your losses. I don't think that's going to be the case with Berlanga, because it's the attitude, it's the character of the individual that strikes me as he is going to be very limited. And now that he's made some coins, he's probably going to be even more unbearable, because he's going to be a lot more well off than he was before tonight. But that doesn't make guys like him better people. It doesn't. So it's just something to pay attention to. DLP has fallen into the building saying salute. Hendog, the fearless one, is laughing at what I said. Yeah. And he says, facts, Sensei. Yeah. That's it. Listen, I always tell it like it is. Like I said, people can get upset and they can be like, oh, who did he think he is? Listen, I used to coach. I know what I'm saying. And being able to describe personality types and characteristics of individuals and be able to put them in a situation, all that huffing and puffing that Berlanga did, where was it being channeled into his fist up against Canelo's face and body? It never really showed up. It never showed up. At not one point in 12 rounds did he assert himself and go after Canelo to show him, I'm a man. At no point. At no point. And it's very unfortunate because when you have situations like that, that kind of reveals who you are at the end of the day. I had remarked to Queen 71. I said, you know, she said, what is he doing with the why is he backing up like this? I said, you know why he's backing up like that? Because that's his temperament. Huh? He didn't go at Canelo. He went away from Canelo. But all the talk before the fight, he was talking about what he was going to do to Canelo, right? Canelo is still waiting on it right now. Post-fight press conference probably saying, hey, my friend, what are you doing? Huh? Yeah. Active Sports TV is out there. Just subscribe. What's good with you? Welcome to the Stormybman channel. We call them Storm Trackers over here. Welcome. And salute to Constantine out there in the super chat with the $10 holler. Says, happy Lara won, but how sad, of how Danny career ended. Don't be sad for that guy. That guy is well off, man. He's been well off for a while, properly invested in everything. This is why, again, if you listen to Stormybman and how he talks about these circumstances with these fighters, I've talked about that. Danny didn't need to fight tonight, but he fought tonight for the purse. Whatever his intent is and how to use that purse going forward, he didn't need it. But he came under the guise of he was trying to go for a second world title. Well, if he were truly trying to go for the second world title, where was the output to try to contest for Lara's position and title? Where was the effort and energy to go to try to take away from Lara what was in his possession? It didn't exist. Danny survived, and he survived as long as he could without getting hurt too bad. And I have to tell you, the knockout punch from Lara, it really showed something. It really showed something. It showed that the knockouts he's been getting, they're real. Some people may not think so. But whom have you seen do to Danny what he did to Danny? Huh? With one punch. One punch. So salute to Constantine. Thank you for your super chat donation. Yeah. King Style Productions is out there saying 100 a couple times over. Hendog says, how come when he spinned Canelo, he didn't throw any combinations? Because he was not locked and loaded. He was only locked in, and meaning in being in the fight and trying to survive. Fighters will reveal who they are to you. All of those first round blowouts and everything, he could have fought Canelo right after the last first round knockout that he had. He could have fought Canelo then. You know why? Because his disposition would have been the same of what he showed you tonight. The other fights, due to he not learning much of anything, wouldn't have made any difference. But he is who he is. And that's not necessarily a good guy. It's not. And it's very unfortunate because there are people out there who love the guy, who are related to him, and, you know, all of that. But I'm sorry, but not sorry. You got to tell the truth. You got to tell the truth about these guys. William says, Stormy, Danny's heart hasn't been in boxing for a while. Now I think it's been all about the payday for a while now. Of course. Of course. That's why he didn't want to fight certain fights. He didn't want to fight guys like Terrence Crawford and stuff like that, even though they had amateur experience with one another. That's because, you see, fighters who are hungry and fight with purpose, they'll bring the dog out of you. And I don't mean the dog of heart and spirit, but I mean the dog as of the loafer, the guy who don't want to work for it and the guy who don't have that effort in him. That's what I mean. See, when we used to talk about somebody's a dog back in my day, that's what we referred to it as. Not as something great and tough and rough, but the opposite, actually. You see how they put a spin on words and terminologies and to make people sound okay. Oh, he's a dog. Yeah. But back in my day, when women used to call a guy a dog, that meant he dogged them out, or he dogged people out, or he was no good. You no good dog. You see? But now, hey, dog, D-A-W-G, that foolishness. See? You have to know where these things come from. DLP says, sound like the undercard was better, but only got to see Berlanga, never finding his range. He never went to explore his range. DLP, he never sought that. He was only half-assing it to survive. Yeah. Delano says Canelo could have fought Yard, rematch with Lara. These are guys besides Benavidez that would have come there to win. And that's exactly why he didn't fight them, Delano. He's fighting, I said it earlier in the show, he's picking from a crop of guys who haven't developed to a degree to be competitive enough to take him off his perch, or have the experience to be able to trick him and outsmart him and outbox him. So he's fighting guys that he can do that to, but the guys who are a threat to be victorious, he's staying away from. Why do you think he walked away from a rematch with Dimitri Bivol? He's even been talking about the possibility of rematching Bivol if he's victorious over Bitterbeef, but he's not talking about fighting Bitterbeef if Bitterbeef wins the fight against Bivol. But don't forget, he could have fought Dimitri Bivol in a rematch already, and he walked away from that. Canelo is a spin artist as well. You guys have heard him, you've observed him, but please be smarter than that. Be smarter than these people that he's selecting to fight. He doesn't fool me at all. He's an old guy. He's an old, oversized, blown up welterweight. That's what he is. Yeah. Believe it or not, he's not a middleweight, he's not a super middleweight, and he's damn sure not a light heavyweight. He's a fat welterweight. Yeah, I said it. That's exactly what he is. 5'7.5" with a 67 and 68 inch reach. He's a welterweight. Black Martial Arts Society says he wanted more money to fight Bud. He didn't want to fight Bud. He didn't want to fight Bud. Remember, I already gave you the reason why. Someone who is ambitious and wants something, who brings a different type of stake to the fight. That's not what he's looking for. To ask for more money or a higher price is to ensure that it doesn't take place. If you are competing to be the best, sometimes you can take less to get what you want in the end. Didn't Devin Haney show us that? Challenging George Kambosos so he could become undisputed lightweight champion of the world, the first and youngest in the 4-belt era. There you go. There's a lot of guys who don't want to do that. It's a lot of guys who don't want to do that. But they'll huff and puff and blow all of your hopes down. Yeah! William is asking, Stormy, what did you think about Cool Boy's performance? Oh, you mean Scooter? Because he doesn't want to be called Cool Boy anymore. Scooter scooted by with a gift decision. That's what I think about that. I feel very strongly that Carlos Castro whooped that ass. Had him on the canvas, had him shook and hurt several times, busted his face up, and he was awarded a gift decision, Yeah, that's what they do for guys with the PBC like that. And it's very interesting because Scooter, was found on his pooter, by Castro. And Castro was busting him up with that jab. These stupid announcers, Joe Goosen, I don't know what the hell he was watching, but the first 4 to 5 rounds, Castro was busting him down with a jab, and they were trying to say that Fulton was winning. I was like, are you kidding me? All the times you guys want to talk about effective aggression and ring generalship, and Castro was sticking that damn jab in Scooter's face, and he couldn't get out of the way of it. And I was on the phone with Scrapbook Boxing. Shout out to Scrapbook. And we were talking about this, and I was like, Scrap, do you hear this? What the hell is Goosen saying? And he's like, man, I have no idea, Stormy. I was like, look, I said, Scrap, the way he's landing that jab is so effective that, and before I could finish my sentence, Scrap said a knockout will come behind that. He's like, this guy ain't going to go 8 rounds getting hit with that jab like that. And then within a couple of minutes, he dropped the right hand behind the jab, and down goes Scooter. I was like, oh, Scrap, he knocked him down. This was live while we're on the phone with each other. And we're sitting up here talking about what's going to happen. It's almost like being a prophet, man. But it comes from the experience of knowing what you're looking at. So what Joe Goosen was doing was being a house analyst for the fight on Scooter's behalf. He's trying to sell you. You know what you're seeing with your eyes. But if you're listening to his commentary, you're going to be blinded by his BS over the microphone. He's telling you what's not happening. And I'm looking at it, and I'm watching this guy bop his head back like it's a bobble doll. And he can't get out of the way of it. And Castro's trainer, Robert Alcazar, who used to train De La Hoya, he knows how to train these guys and work off the jab and the left hooks and all of that. And that's exactly what he was doing. Now, I will admit, by the later rounds, because the fight was only scheduled for 10, Carlos seemed to get a little distracted at the end there. I don't know if it was just like, it seemed like his focus wandered. And Fulton was able to pull out rounds 9 and 10. But I still had him winning like 7 rounds to 3. And that's how I had it. But I didn't like how it played out. I didn't like how they, the way it ended up going. I just didn't like that at all. But shout out to Carlos Castro for putting on a very good performance. He came and he did what he was capable of doing. But I'm going to tell you guys, Scooter competing at the top of the division, it's not going to work out for him. Featherweight, he doesn't punch hard enough. and he gets hit too cleanly. He has zero to no defense, people. His defense is just like fighting back. Huh? He don't protect himself. It's no wonder that Inouye knocked him out like he did. And I had said, if he doesn't tighten things up and he goes over there and he let this guy hit him on the chin, what was going to happen? And that's exactly what happened. And he's been out a year and he hasn't improved his defense one iota. So go figure, huh? Go figure. These guys, I don't know what they be thinking. See, Bozy Ennis, you know, he's a trainer, but he can't make him put his hands up and protect himself. He can't. You know? And I'm going to tell you something. You're going to hear more about Scooter being put on the pooter because, hey, he ain't listening up. He ain't looking to protect himself. I classify him, like I've talked about some other fighters, as dumb fighters. Dumb fighters are the ones who don't do what they need to do to serve their own greater interests. If it means for certain fighters, keep your hands up. Stop dropping your hands low. I'm talking about you. If it means not listening to your corner's instructions and arguing with the corner man and everything, I'm talking about you. If it means when you're out there and you're not asserting yourself or trying to apply yourself, especially if the other guy isn't as well, you're not trying to secure the round. You're not trying to take the round. You're not trying to even steal the round. I'm talking about you. You have to have a wherewithal, a sense of intelligence of what you're dealing with out here. And if you don't have that, you're a dumb fighter. Dumb boxer. Yeah, that was a kung fu film. The Dumb Boxer. Jimmy Bernard says, Fact Sensei. William says exactly what I was thinking. Damon says, when was the last time in a Canelo fight where you thought that there was a possibility he was going to lose? He cherry picks. Absolutely. The last time I thought that Canelo was in a fight that he might lose was the first time when he faced Triple G. And that decision didn't go well. And it was at that moment that I was really for certain. It was the fight against Floyd that proved what I'm about to say, that the judges just favored the guy. Because, you know, one of the judges had Canelo in a draw against Floyd. There was no way that damn fight was a draw. No way. But when they start scoring fights like that for a certain fighter, you have to say, oh man, the shoe in is in for this guy. And it was. And it has been for a long time until Dimitri Bivol came along and asserted himself in the manner of which he should and took a victory away from the guy. And even in that fight, no one gave Bivol much of a chance because people really didn't know him like that. And we had observed Canelo picking guys all the time. So we kind of felt like, oh, he's picking this guy. So maybe this guy's another one of those that's just going to go along for the party. You know what I'm saying? He brought his own DJ. Yeah. Trying to put some alcohol on this. I got a mosquito bite, man. Damn, these damn mosquitoes, bro. Man, I got on my monitor right now a fight from the 90s where George Foreman was fighting Ken LaCusta on Tuesday Night Fights. Man, this fight was hilarious. Ken LaCusta hit George with a big shot that rocked George, and he made George change his whole attitude toward him, and George went after him like he did when he was a young man. He smashed LaCusta after that. J-Man says everybody backpedaled and quick and say he knew Canelo was going to be for a tough fight because he moved up. Nah. No, DLP, them judges, they had those fight cards pre-filled out when he fought Canelo. And they looked real stupid when the fight went the distance and how big of a margin Floyd was winning by. They couldn't justify it. But they did the same thing when Lara fought Canelo. Same thing. A lot of people felt like Lara won that fight. Yeah. Yeah, man. It's just a shame that boxing, when it comes down to scoring fights, judges get it so wrong. Because if they got the fights right, when they handed in scorecards, it would make fighters who lose decisions in close fights, it make them go back to the gym and work harder on their craft to come back and be better. When you give these guys gifts, they get complacent. They don't think that they have much to worry or work for. And that's unfortunate because you need them to be the best that they can be. But when they go out there and they're giving gift decisions and everything, it's like, oh yeah, I'm the man, this and that. I'm like, dude, you're not the man. You lost. Just like Stephen Fulton lost tonight in my mind, in my eyes, in my scorecard. He lost. Another fight that was earlier on the scorecard was Romain Villa taking on Ricardo Salas. Listen, Salas upset Romain Villa, who we saw last in his fight against Jerron Boots Ennis. Listen, two Mexican fighters on this Mexican holiday going at it. But let me tell you something. Salas, who got rocked in the first couple of rounds, hit Villa with a right hand in that third round, a short right hand while they were exchanging, and Villa went down on his back and could not beat the count. He laid there and took most of the count, 9, 10, on his back. He didn't get up until after the fight was waved off. Darn good fight between those two guys. Darn good fight, you guys. You hear me? It was amazing. I enjoyed that. I was like eating a sandwich and I'm watching this. I'm like, man, look at these guys. I think I tried to call Drew Titan and tell him. I was like, man, he was busy. I sent him a text. I was like, Villa just got knocked out. Wow. Yeah, man. It was great though, just watching these fights. So there were good matches on the card tonight. There were good matches and they were quality fights. The only fight that was kind of like, what's going on here, was the Lara and Garcia fight, because Danny wasn't trying to win the fight. He was just out there. He was shaking his arms out and doing this. I thought he was Henry Cavill. You remember Henry Cavill in Mission Impossible when he was fighting Tom Cruise? How he shake his arms out like that? He was doing the Henry Cavill. I'm like, okay, Danny's warming up. And then a minute go by and around, and he's still doing that, and he moving his feet a little bit. I was like, well, when Danny gonna throw some shots? He never threw shots. I'm like, man, this is ridiculous. Kamara says, what do you think about open scoring, Sensei? Does boxing get better decisions by the judges because of it? No, I think what they should make the judges do is explain themselves when the fights are over. To have to be able to sit down and explain when they are interviewed, how did they arrive at certain decisions? You know that they don't have to talk to judges, so they just slip away. And that's very unfortunate because there's no accountability. You can just write down what you want and then duck out. You have to be able to say, hey, I wrote this score because this is how I saw the fight. By not being able to explain themselves, you're letting them off the hook. Because if they had to explain themselves, you may find out that they're ineffective in their scorecards because they don't know what the hell that they're doing. It's like having a taxi driver, right? Now he works for the taxi company. He's picking fares up, trying to take them places, taking too long of a route one way, and this, he don't know how to navigate and this and that. But when you report him, the people say, okay, thank you for reporting, and then they just take your report and throw it in the garbage. They never address the driver. Get you a damn GPS, man. We're in modern technology now. You don't have to pull out a map no more. You could go to Google and just, type in the address. Hen Dog is saying, I hate to say this, but what if Danny was poisoned low key? Thank you, Queen 71. Thank you. I mean, come on. Right? I mean, damn. If you don't get all the way the hell up out of here with that foolishness. God damn it. Now you see how I just chose to. And dog, F plus, get to the back of the class. You know, sometimes there are no words. But as you see, Stormybman got different types of reactions. Just when you think you know, you find out you don't. Yeah. Yeah, buddy. Ain't that something, y'all? Uh-huh. But yeah, this was a good card. It wasn't worth that price. None of Canelo's fights are worth a pay-per-view price if he's not fighting people that you want to see him fight. And that's my immediate protest to him, because I mean, there are so many fighters who are deserving of title shots and everything that, you know, even outside of David Benavidez, and he's still not looking in their direction. I mean, if you want to continue to box, Canelo, continue to box, but give up the belts, man. Just like Floyd would do. Floyd would give up the belts. Other people could fight for the belts, and Floyd would just have a fight, you know? But I want to say salute to Ricardo Salas, Carlos Castro, Caleb Plant, Erislandy Lara, and the one fight I didn't talk about was Rolly Romero over Manuel Yames, and that was a fight that Rolly had to find himself in that fight. He ended up with a decision, a unanimous decision in a 10-rounder. But early on, it was kind of a sluggish fight. But Rolly did pull it out. And he lives to fight another day. But yeah, And I agree with J-Man. The fight of the night was probably Caleb Plant and Mccumby for Caleb's performance. It was a dynamite performance by Caleb because I thought that Mccumby was going to get him. I really did. But they switched gears. But that could possibly be a collaboration between Plant and Breadman, that they got him on the correct track to prevail in that fight. Because that's the kind of fight that Caleb could have ended up losing and getting stopped or just getting banged around a lot. But Mccumby showed his inexperience big time, and they exploited that. And that's what happens. But that's why we love the sport of boxing. Because sometimes a guy with lack of experience can still get lucky enough to prevail. You know, it's not always in the cards that the experienced veteran can use his wiles to overcome. Sometimes a younger dude, stronger, get lucky. Like when Mike Tyson was a young guy, he was going through that heavyweight division, banging up some of those older guys and everything, and they had the experience to deal with him, but some of them were scared to death of him and his strength and his power, and they succumbed to that. Main Biker in the building. He says, Stormy in chat, salute. I'm late, but I made it. Okay. Appreciate you there, Main Biker. We've been out here for about an hour or more talking about these fights tonight. He says, Plant did wear down Mccumby by using veteran moves. He leaned on that mofo. Well, it wasn't just about leaning on him. He tricked Mccumby because Mccumby was the stronger guy and everything. But when Caleb got in his chest, Mccumby didn't know how to handle that. He didn't know how to fight on the inside. And Caleb kept him pressed against the ropes. And in certain instances, Mccumby was not effective in that mode. At first, I thought Mccumby was like playing possum and was going to let Caleb expend himself a little bit and then do something. But then I noticed that even his corner would tell him, stay off the ropes, and he would find himself back against the ropes again. So it's like he didn't know how to stay off the ropes. And I'm like, okay, see, this is where you could see the inexperience coming in. And by the time the fight ended up getting stopped, he had been taking some punches that he took unnecessarily, and it wore him down psychologically and physically. So it was a good win for Caleb. But he can't fight everybody like that. There are fighters he can get away with that with, like in this instance, he was able to get away with that. But if he had tried that against David Benavidez, he would have definitely got stopped and not gone the distance. You know, so again, you know, it's a lesson learned. It's a memory for the toolbox to keep that in mind, that type of experience that Caleb was able to prevail. So when you're talking about fighters of this ilk, and you can take that example and keep it in bearing for future reference, which is something I do a lot of. It's like I file these in my data bank to say, hey, these are scenarios that could come out of what we're witnessing in this present moment. Yeah. Yeah, salute to Main Biker out there in that super chat. He says, the body attack and uppercut wore Mccumby down. He was so strong that even punches to the arm sent Plant flying to the canvas. Plant Old man them, yeah. Appreciate you for the super chat there, main biker. Yeah, sometimes when you fight these guys like that, it's like you find a way. But as I said earlier too, a great part of it was the fact that this guy did not or had not fought past 6 rounds. And that played a huge favor for Plant as well. Because when guys go into deeper waters where they've never gone before, sometimes it's a awakening and they get nervous about what they're dealing with. Salute to salute to Deacon out there. He says, salute Sensei, much love and respect for what you do out there in that Cash App. Appreciate you there, Deacon. Thank you for your donation, brother. Thank you. So we've had about 400 people come through here this evening for this post-fight show. You see, when Canelo fights or some of the top names like a Tank Davis fight, you know, the people will come out. Why do they come out and, you know, listen to me? I have no idea, man. I have no idea. But it's really interesting that they do that, you know. Because I'm just a guy out here talking, you know. No, main biker, let me correct you on that. I disagree. He didn't show his gas tank. He was in there with a guy who had never had his gas tank tested. I just said a moment ago that Mccumby had never fought past 6 rounds. And that fight was scheduled for 12. So even though Caleb was fighting him hard in certain spots and pushing him into the ropes, Mccumby was letting Caleb tee off on him, which was doing damage. See, he's never been in those kind of scenarios before because usually his strength or power had won out inside of 6 rounds. So you're fighting a different type of a person with different type of experience, and then you end up in the other guy's snare, and that's what happened there. Yeah, he had 28 fights and 24 knockouts, something like that. It's like he, you know, a high percentage of knockout stoppages in his career. Yeah. So it does make a difference, you know. It makes a difference. Yeah. Well, we're going to get ready to listen to my man, the Focus Ball, huh? Focus Ball.
Get ready to take your striking game to the next level with the Focus Ball. Dramatically improved footwork, timing, head movement, hand-eye coordination, reflex, and overall fight IQ. It's lightweight and extremely portable, so you can train every time, everywhere. When you don't have a coach to do mitt work, get a Focus Ball. When you don't have a heavy bag to hit, get a Focus Ball. When you don't have a sparring partner, get yourself a Focus Ball. And when you just want to have fun punching and kicking, get a Focus Ball. When you train with the Focus Ball, you train your eyes and your brain to read punches so that you can hit and not get hit, making this very simple device a must-have for all combat sports athletes and enthusiasts alike. So if you want to take your striking game to the next level, don't wait. Get the Focus Ball now.
Yeah, main biker is asking, is it a downside that Canelo on Canelo that Berlanga lasted? Absolutely not, because Berlanga is a younger, bigger, stronger kid, and Canelo won every round. He beat him up. He won every round. He took the fight out of Berlanga as early as the first round. And that's why I say you probably won't see much more of Berlanga outside of what you saw tonight, because he never even tried. Now, they could put him in against lower opposition and he could look good again. But what he showed at the top of the sport as a chance to try to become a world champion, he never took any risk. He never made the adjustment to try to go for broke. He never even tried to back Canelo up on a consistent basis where he could secure rounds. He didn't do any of that. But I'll tell you what he will do. He will go and spend that money that he made off of this fight on this evening. Yep. So it is what it is. But we're going to get ready to head on out of here. It's been a great post-fight show. It's getting late for everybody. And I got to go to bed, get my beauty sleep. You know what I'm saying? I'm behind on it. So my makeup is coming off. So you guys, y'all can stay up as late as you want to. But I'm old, huh? These old bones have to get in the bed. You know what I'm saying? So I want to say shout out to the mighty LDBC. And we will catch you guys on the next post fight next week because it's on again. Yeah. Peace.